And we're live. Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance, everybody. I've got my buddy Jay NAUGY here. If you haven't already subscribed to his YouTube, we're going to dump on Bitcoin today. We're going to dump on Tesla.
Tesla. No, in my backyard, I'm gonna, like I said, for about $1,000, you could build a sauna back there with infrared lights and an electric heater in Florida. Man, half the time during the summer, you wouldn't even need to put anything in there.
I mean, isn't it sitting outside a sauna in Florida?
Huh?
Isn't just going outside a sauna in Florida?
Yeah, pretty much. In the summer, it is, man. It's like there was humidity in the air today, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, can I just get a break from the humidity for 2 months?
No. It's funny. My wife's been giving me crap. She wants to go to Florida for vacation because it's cold here. I'm like, we just freaking went there. We're not going again. So get over it.
How cold is it there? Virginia's not that bad, man.
It's not that bad. It's like usually it's been about in the 40s and even 50s. Like last winter was really bad, but now, I mean, I can't complain. I think it's pretty nice for a winter.
I mean, honestly, I would prefer more winter. The farthest north I'll go is North Carolina, but the problem with North Carolina is a lot of the people from my state are moving to North Carolina and ruining it, and I moved to Florida to get away from them.
I'll tell you, the place to go is South Carolina. Especially the Greenville area. It's a really nice area. It's a very conservative state.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've told you, I was just arguing with a person on Twitter today, and she kept calling me a Trump tart or a maggot. And I'm like, bro, I wanted to go to her. I bet you I'm more liberal than on a lot of subjects than you are, solely because I support limited government. You know, it's like she was accusing me of being against gay marriage. And I'm like, if you asked me about gay marriage when I was 18 in 1996, I would have told you the government shouldn't even be involved in it. Yes, of course, two adults should be able to get married. It's not my business. I don't care. It's not something it's like most of the time when people are talking about stuff, I'm like, dude, I don't care. I have my interests. Stand-up comedy, stock market, strongman personal finance.
That's your number one interest, right?
Yeah. Other than that, man, I don't have a lot of time to devote to other people's BS, so I just don't care.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man. Like I was getting all obsessed with the news, before the election, and I'm finally just at a point where I just really don't care. So all I do is just try to build my channel and learn more about stocks, and that's basically all I do. Oh, and work out, obviously. That's why I'm strong, man.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I just ordered a 70 by 36 whiteboard.
Oh, is it like a wall mounted or is it like a stand
roller, so I can move it around. I'm gonna start doing videos like I told you before. I'm gonna do a video where I actually show you how much money you need to fire, and I mean, standard if you're talking about a 2% dividend. You need $3 million. Like, good luck doing that in 20 years, unless you're making an exorbitant salary.
Look, you just marry a fellow engineer. You can make $400,000 a year. Don't have any kids, and if you save most of it, yeah, I guess you could fire. But if you don't meet those conditions, then you're probably not going to fire. Like a normal millionaire, and I learned this from like one of Dave Ramsey's personality books.
I saw you trolling on there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was laughing.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stories about that. But the average person doesn't become a millionaire until they're like in their 50s, So even if you're like a super saver, 50s is like probably the most reasonable time to fire, not your 30s or 40s.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, it's alluring, the idea that you can stop doing crap that you don't really want to do and, just hustle off into the sunset. It's a nice thing, but the only people really getting rich off the FIRE movement are the people selling courses on how to fire, like My Rich Journey, which I'll take to the air and say it now. They're hot garbage, and they're lying about how much money they made trying to fire. They were government employees.
Yeah, they had like, I think didn't they show their portfolio? I remember watching a video. I watched them briefly, but I stopped. They had like $2 or $3 million. I was like, how did they get that much that fast? You know,
Yeah.
like, dude, when I was in the Army, I was an officer. I was a super saver, and I don't even have even close to that amount of money. Like, how did they do it? You know, it seems like this is impossible.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's one thing. Like, this is my complete view on YouTubers. So Andre Geek, he did his video where he said he made $1.5 million last year. I got no problem with that guy making money, shilling stock market advice on YouTube. He even created a course to tell you how he did it. I don't even have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is when you make a shitty course, sell it for $300 that then tells people to buy mutual funds. That's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with you, we'll bring up the fucking king of them, Jeremy Lefebvre on his stupid channel. He's talking about how he got 124% return this year, and that's why you should pay him $15,000. Well, if you had just bought ARK Invest's ETFs, you would have gotten 154% return this year. And I mean, at that point, when you get 154% return on something, I have no confidence that thing's going to be profitable for a very long time at those prices.
Well, people always think they're like, hey, it just went up a lot, so it's going to keep going, which is total nonsense. You know
what my decision is? To buy mutual funds that are off for the year. That's why when I moved into the mid cap, I went and looked. I'm like, oh, this thing's still down by 10%. Buy it. It's literally that simple. Is your mutual fund not doing anything this year? Buy more of it. It'll go up in the future. I stopped buying VYM, even though I like the added diversification because now I got Tesla in 2 of my mutual funds. But I stopped buying it because it's $91. It's too expensive. Once it drops again, I'll buy another chunk of it. But yeah, that's my entire problem with these people is they're preying on ignorance. And then when you try to talk their fans out of it, you can tell that they're just being preyed upon. And I'm like, what you just said there is not true. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm a bro level investor at best, and I can tell you, Jeremy is full of shit.
Yeah, but I mean, if we ever have a big bear market and all these stocks crash, he's going to have a lot of trouble justifying himself going in the future. Whereas like people like me and you, we know the stock market's going to crash, and we're not telling you to put your money in, these completely speculative stocks. So even if the market crashes, we predicted it, and you're not going to lose your ass.
Well, it's like this. I'll make a prediction for you. All these vegan companies, they're not going to work out. If you're watching this, I don't know if anybody.
Vegan, bro.
Huh?
I'm going vegan, bro.
Yeah, no. Like the tattooed chef, a lot of these companies, what they're doing. Sven Carlin, he was the one who I found this out from on his channel. A bunch of crappy, low-grade companies that aren't even profitable contacted him and wanted him to push stocks. They contacted him and they were offering him money to push the stocks. And what he did is he went and examined their balance sheets and he's like, yeah, no, I'm not pushing these. See, that guy is going to end up being a long-term winner because he's just honest about it. And down the road, he tells you like it is. Like, this is value investing. It's about a margin of safety. Because the best way to maximize the gains on your portfolio is not to lose money.
Yeah, which mostly means, not selling at a loss, which all these dudes love to do. Are you getting an echo?
A little bit.
Hello?
It sounds like a lag.
Yeah. No, so anyway, I mean, like, what happens with all these dude bros is, they buy all these stocks that, are skyrocketing, and then they crash, and then they sell. So, they're buying at the highs and they're selling at the lows. And those people always lose freaking money. But if you buy a good stock that is going to be a company that's going to grow into the future and you just hold on to it, even if it does bad in the short term, just be patient. And eventually you're going to, reap the rewards of owning a good company. It's just all about patience and not being stupid.
Yeah, but my problem with a lot of the financial YouTubers is that they're going to end up doing a lot of monetary damage to their people's portfolios. Again, I hate to bring the guy up, but he's the only guy that I really have seen on here. There might be another dude that actually knows how to fairly value a company and is actually, not just trying to sell you some shit and has a passion for this. Again, Sven, on his channel, he talked about Tesla, and he said, basically it's way overvalued and in a bubble. Then down in the comment section, this guy goes, he goes, thanks, Sven. I'm glad that I have your blessing to buy Tesla stock. I bought some in the summer, and I bought some in the fall, and I'm gonna buy more. Me, dude, sell that. He's like, why? I go, because it's gonna crash. It's gonna crash because it's overvalued. And then Sven writes under that comment, he goes, my blessings. He's like, you just hear what you want, don't you? And you can go watch the video, and he's telling you not to buy it. I don't get it, man. It's irrational exuberance.
I was kind of watching it, and I got the impression that he didn't necessarily, or he gave some scenarios where it actually would be a good investment, But I guess that would be if there was like a rosy forecast and it grew by
40% per year.
40%. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, like by some miracle, it might do that, but even then, it's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk of buying into that stock with a freaking
1,400. Is that what it is now?
1,400 price to earnings rate. It's freaking ridiculous.
There was a guy, I don't know if I said this last time because we were drinking. There was a guy who did a Seeking Alpha article where he talked about how long it would take for Tesla at that PE ratio to earn a 10% profit, and it was like 32.20.
Yeah, dude, I looked at their, like when I first heard about Tesla and all this, I looked at their income statement, and they were losing money every quarter, and then they started barely making a profit. Like they're
only making profits because of government subsidies.
Yeah, I mean, because people get I think it's like California gives like a freaking tax credit, so that's like where all their sales are. But I mean, they weren't a hyper profitable company. The only good thing I saw was they had like decent margins on their cars, but I don't know if that's standard for the auto industry or not. I didn't do that much research.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with Tesla that people aren't looking at. People think that they have a moat. Legacy automakers are spending $40 billion a year versus Tesla's R&D of $1 billion. That $40 billion, I think Volkswagen is spending a ridiculous amount more than Tesla on R&D. And I'm like, you guys, it comes down to you just don't understand the underlying technology. Like, you don't understand that, well, the battery gets this range. Yeah, in certain weather. If it's cold or if it's extremely cold or it's extremely hot, it's not going to get the same distance out of the battery. That's just a problem with physics. Batteries don't operate as well in the cold.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I shared an image. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it had Tesla's valuation, and they compared it to like every other car company in the world.
I saw that, dude.
I was like, so you're telling me that Tesla is the same size as every freaking car company combined, and they're all trying to get EVs too, and you're telling me that Tesla's the same freaking size?
Toyota sold 11 million vehicles or something like that last year.
I mean, the only way that valuation would make sense is if every other car company literally went out of business, and then Tesla just dominated and sold cars to every single family. Like that would be the only way it can make sense.
But the China market, China's not going to let an American company dominate that market.
I said that months ago. Like China, they steal our technology and they subsidize their own businesses. So even though Tesla's building a freaking factory in China, the Gigafactory, China's not going to let Tesla dominate their economy. Hell no.
I'm fighting back. I'm fighting back in my own small way. Me at Lowe's yesterday with my mom and my stepdad. I was buying tools for the house. I just looking at him, I'm like, my stepdad grabbed a hammer. He goes, "Oh, this is $4." I go, "Yeah, where is it made? China?" I go, "Yeah, you can keep your China hammer. I want a made in the USA hammer."
Oh,
Give
here's
me
the
the
American hammer.
Well, I bought it. I'm willing to pay more. I'm doing decently financially now. So if I got to pay more for an American made product, I'm just going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't
I'm
I
more of
don't
a free trader, but I
I
mean,
don't
there are things that need to be made in America. I agree.
well, if it's made in Germany, I'm fine with that too. I'm just not buying China stuff.
I mean, at the end of the day, if they can make it cheaper, like let them build certain things, and then we can build things that we're better at building, and then hopefully it works out harmoniously in the long run. I like
I
per
know.
hammer, I want to pay $30 for a freaking hammer.
I actually paid 15, I think, for a Craftsman hammer.
It's not bad.
This little guy right here. Let's see how much I paid for him. It's an Eastwig. Price isn't on it.
It'd be epic right now if you actually turn around and smash your TV with it.
I've had that TV since 2012.
Yeah, it does look kind of old, but
Oh, it's
I think
old,
I have
dude.
an TV myself. I think I had this in Afghanistan, maybe.
Yeah, dude.
Kind of hanging out on the floor.
But I want. How much TV do I watch? I watch The Mandalorian, and then I watch Netflix movies occasionally. Like, yeah, if I got. Sorry about your wife leaving you for a financial advisor.
That's all I do now is watch TV because I'm just single and lonely and scared.
Oh, dude, notice I'm not smoking too.
Did you quit?
Yeah, I'm Tuesday.
Oh, yes, you passed the big hump.
Yeah, I'm using nicotine aids, but this is how I quit last time. I just go down and down and down until I'm just chewing the gum. Then I use patches again, and I go down, and then I'm off of it. So that's like I got a month-long goal.
Dude, I go cold turkey because like I know I'm eventually gonna start back. So it's just like whatever, I'll just quit, accelerate the pain, get it done, and then maybe smoke again. And I've actually gotten to the point where I can quit cold turkey pretty easily now. It's not even a challenge.
I want off of the shit, and it's just a pointless fucking habit. I was on Twitter, of course, trolling and just saying ridiculous shit and arguing with people until they block me. They talk about how stupid I am till I inevitably force them to block me, and they don't know that I'm laughing. I'm cackling maniacally behind my Twitter account. But this guy was talking about equality outcome and poor people being born poor. And I'm like, plenty of people make it out of poverty, being born to poor parents. And this guy hits me with some liberal bullshit. And I'm like, right, like the guy I worked with who spent all his money on crack, then quit his job and is now homeless. That's somehow somebody else's fault other than his own. I'm like, if you smoke cigarettes and you do it from 18 till the time you're 70, there's $1 million.
Oh yeah, cigarettes are insanely expensive. Like a lot of lower income people, I think they use more tobacco, which kills their budget. They buy freaking lottery tickets.
Dude, you would love my video game bit where I talk about taking this guy out who's buying lottery tickets because I got stuck behind him for 15 minutes, and I purposely just go slow asking for numbers till it gets uncomfortably long. And then I talk about following him out into the parking lot, Fallout style. And then because I leveled up my sneak skill and my pickpocket skill, taking his lottery tickets and putting a grenade in his pocket and then running off.
Is that more of a Skyrim thing?
Well, Fallout used the grenade
or something, and they slowly die.
Yeah. Wait, what did you say?
There's like a thing in Skyrim, I think, where you can you trade an item, and then the item kills them. It's like a poison, and it takes like 1 HP off at a time, and eventually they die.
I didn't know about that, dude.
Maybe it's Oblivion, but I remember one of those games you could put something in their pocket and they freaking die after a couple of minutes.
Dude, in Fallout and Skyrim, I would just do so much fucked up shit that was so funny to just me. Like, you used unrelenting shout on people off cliffs all the time.
Oh yeah, I've done everything in Skyrim. Okay, you don't understand how much I've played that game. Thousands of hours.
Did you wait? Okay, so how old are you?
31.
So it came out when you were 20.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I actually didn't play it until maybe a couple of years ago. Like I only had an N64. That's all I played. And then I finally caved in at like 25 or 26 and got an Xbox One. And then at that point, I started playing all these games. So I'm actually pretty new to a lot of them.
Have you played The Witcher?
Witcher 3?
Yeah.
I did. Skyrim kind of ruined
We talked about it.
Yeah, I couldn't play it. I didn't like it that much.
God, I love that game. It's my favorite game of all time. But no, like Fallout, just running around, just slipping grenades into people's pockets, and then running off and watch. And the best part was you son of a boom, they blew up.
Is this Fallout 4?
Yeah, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, you could do it. New Vegas, you could do it.
I need to try it. I haven't played Fallout in a while, but I just got like a newer gaming computer, to do like video editing. So now I can actually play Fallout 4 without my freaking laptop dying. So maybe I'll have to get into it.
Personally, I think New Vegas is the best one out of them. Tell us the best story.
I didn't like
it.
Didn't?
I loved that.
I think if you played that game when it first came out, you probably liked it, because that was the technology back then. But it's kind of hard for me to go back that far where it's kind of like, rough around the edges.
Yeah, no, I get it, dude. It is. I mean, you're talking about 2009 technology.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Like, I mean, for Elder Scrolls, I could play Skyrim and Oblivion. But then going back to Morrowind, that was just too crap for me. And then for Fallout, like I can only play Fallout 4. Anything before that is just too old.
I get it, man. It is what it is. I mean, I'm wondering how the graphics will hold up from this current generation in 20 years, because I don't really think it's going to be that bad to go back and play The Witcher 3 in 20 years.
I mean, the graphics can only get so good. I mean, like they're almost to the point where it's almost like real life. Like, how much better can you get? I think like processing speed will probably be better. We get like, it's easier to load open worlds, but I don't think graphics are improving that much.
Well, it'll get to the point with it'll be like deep fakes. You know what those are?
Yeah, so they like have somebody saying something, but it's like a computer program.
Yeah, those will get better till they're like photorealistic. I can't wait the effects of that has on society. You don't like someone, make them say a whole bunch of like messed up stuff, like Photoshop them into a plane saying a bunch of racist stuff, and you're sitting there like, I wasn't on that flight, man. Why am I getting fired from my job? That's not me. That's a deep fake.
Did you see that guy Strongman? He said to buy Bitcoin, buy Tesla, and trade all options.
Yeah, dude.
BS. It's probably financially trying to sabotage me.
What have you been doing on Ramsey's page? Do you go on there and do you just troll them endlessly about their... See, it was you that told... I didn't know that Ramsey had a bunch of products like that fucking steal people's money. I didn't know that. I thought when he talked about his professionals, what they were doing to work with you is maybe like a flat fee, and what they said was you got to want to learn this on your own, not management fees.
So the majority of the industry is going to have these management fees. I mean, like, because the advisors can't afford to live if they're just charging you up front. Because I did it, and if I didn't sell like 2 policies, I would starve. But what they did was, it was hard to get clients because you would maybe get like 2 or 3 new clients a month, because you would talk to 100 people, 10 would come in, 3 would agree to a second session, and then maybe 2 would actually buy the products. And you needed at least 2 or 3 people to survive. But the commissions that they paid were extremely high, and they could only do that by having extremely high commissions. So like, there's no way where they could have this model where they sell these really low charges. Like, oh, you can pay $50 or $100 for an hour of my time, and I'll build you a plan. They wouldn't be able to survive just by the amount of people that they're able to bring in.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, I didn't know the industry was so dirty. I feel bad telling people to go talk to a certified financial planner then. I mean, I just learned this shit on my own between college and then just, oh, what is this?
I mean, I have the perfect solution. Like, all you have to do is go read the Bogleheads forum, learn the basics of index investing, and then open a Roth IRA, buy a target retirement fund that matches your retirement date, and then start investing in that. And then once you actually get more comfortable investing, then you can just sell out of that if you want to and pick your own asset allocation. But in the meantime,
that's what I tell people to do when they ask me. I like at work, I said, okay, first off, unless you're maxing your thrift savings program, you have no business buying individual stocks because that's where you're protected from taxes. And I go, after that, if you got money left over, put it in a all world market, total stock market, leave it there and just start reading and you'll eventually figure it out. I say, do that for a year. Just read constantly for a year. Don't buy any individual stocks. Just read and learn. At the end of that year, make your first purchase.
I mean, it took a while for it to click with me. I mean, it didn't really click until I started studying for the CPA exam. And then I started really understanding, like, present value, discounted cash flows. I actually understood how to read business statements. It was kind of at that point that everything really clicked. And then it kind of really made sense why people were pushing index funds so much, because it's really all about the fees. And even a small fee can make a massive difference when you're looking at a time horizon.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But I mean, if you're under 1%, like even ARK Invest, even though I wouldn't buy any of their products because they're just overheated. And I actually, after watching Sven's video on them, I don't have any confidence in them. Because I talked about it on my podcast. It's a problem of not understanding the underlying technology. And I don't really have confidence that Kathy Woods does the more I hear her speak.
Well, dude, 10% of that whole ETF is in Tesla. So even if Tesla goes down by half, that's 5% of your value right there. And most of I think the top 10 companies in ARK they're like 50% of the whole fund's valuation. That's hyper concentrated,
Well, to get away from Tesla, I was actually thinking about getting rid of my total stock market and getting an equally weighted S&P 500 fund.
Yeah, I wouldn't be scared about Tesla that much because, like, in a total stock market ETF.
Well, it was the problem of everybody flooding into tech. I was looking at this and I'm like, dude, all these people, they're just buying these stocks. They don't know why. If I asked them, they wouldn't be able to give me an answer. And it's just, for me,
because they went up in the past, so they're going to go up in the future.
Yeah. Well, for me, right? That's what stocks do. Tesla to 50 million. You're one share. But no, I mean, I don't do it, but I get these thoughts when I look at it, and I'm like, then I'm just like, leave your money where it is. Just throw money at it. But it's one of the places that I do disagree with Sven on. I don't blow this guy anymore, but I disagree with him on the index fund thing because I'm like, listen, dude, you're a PhD in finance. You do this for a living. You have time to sit there and break down these stocks. If somebody wants to buy individual stocks based on your recommendation, I support it. But I mean, the average person just doesn't have the time to look at all these industries to figure out where to put their money. So it becomes what level of return are you looking for? If you're down for a solid 8% return, 6% after inflation, I don't see why not a total stock market.
I mean, that's better than the average investor. The average investor probably gets 2 or 3%. Mm-hmm. I think I shared a graphic of that. And that's because they buy when it's high and they sell all the stuff that's done bad recently. So it's kind of like people, like, they're probably throwing all their money into tech right now, which is
I'm
What's
gonna
up?
speculate. I'm gonna speculate on Tesla just because I think it's funny. I'm gonna wait for it to crash. And then I'm gonna buy it.
I mean,
Then I'm
it's
not.
a profitable company. Like it
Yeah,
has value and it's going to get big, but it's not a good deal right now. You should not buy it just because it went up. It's extremely expensive.
my
It's
price point. My price point on Tesla is about $60 to $70.
I would since it's a growth stock, I would say, 100 max. It's like very growthy because
Well,
EV
dude, JP Morgan has it at 90.
that makes more sense to me. It's a profitable company. It's a growth stock. You're not going to have a 15 PE ratio, but 1400.
Well,
People
it's
don't understand. Even if you got two stimulus checks and you put that all into Tesla, you would even get $1 back in a year.
no.
$1.
Well,
$1,400 to get $1.
yeah, right. $1,400 to get $1 of profit.
It is so stupid.
I'll stick with
Tesla went up. It went up more, man.
Jay Nagy's stupid because he bought Bank of New York, whose PEG ratio is 0.8. Its PE ratio might be at 20. I don't buy any individual stocks now, except Baba because it's a tech. You're in the 30s for a tech company, and your forward is good too. I don't have a problem with that.
Oh yeah,
But
Baba's fine. It's in the low 30s or even like high 20s. Okay, I mean that seems reasonable to me, but
yeah,
1400, no.
well, this guy said to me. He responded to me on the page. He goes, when I said, he goes, oh, like Amazon did one time, and I didn't know what to say, and I'm like, okay, that was the tech market, there was the tech bubble of 99, and that's the actual EV market right now is the tech bubble of 1999. I don't have confidence though that Tesla is going to come to the dominance that Amazon turned into. That's even a gamble. Let's say Jeff Bezos, let's say Amazon drops in value and the worst thing possible happens. Jeff Bezos passes away and they don't have a good successor there. Amazon doesn't become the company that it is. And it's the same thing that, God forbid, I'm not saying I would want this to happen, but accidents can and do happen. If Elon Musk, something happens to him, that company is done. He's the genius behind it. And you never know. It's like that Bill Burr bit on Nerd Jesus on Steve Jobs. Except Elon Musk is an actual genius.
Oh, the
Steve
guy
Jobs, Steve
maniac.
Jobs was just a guy who said, yeah, make this thing do this. I'm going to go over here and eat a salad.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tesla would probably crash to like 50 if Elon Musk died. I totally agree. He's like the
I
drive.
wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't buy it at 50 if Elon Musk died.
I would because at least it's profitable, and like we'll see the next couple of quarters.
Yeah.
And profits keep growing, but I mean, it would have to be extremely, extremely low for me to buy into that company. That would just be for fun, Like I'm not going to put 10% of my portfolio in a freaking stock.
It was priced to perfection at like $600-700. Now it's just like I sit back and I told you about the guy I work with. We talk stocks. I go, how much longer can this Tesla thing last?
I could not believe it. I opened my phone and it was at 700 something. I was like, oh my God. Like, it's just insane. And I think the reason is because of stimulus checks. I think all these
I agree.
got their stimulus checks. They're like, Tesla, and that was it. I think it's at 700. Let's see where it's at right now. I got 6 notifications on my phone for Facebook. It's probably all Dave Ramsey people attacking me. I'm not that bad of a guy, guys. Okay,
I'd love to be a professional comedian, endlessly trolling people in the financial world.
Dude, there's so much ammo for financial advisors. Like those videos that I make making fun of them. It's true because they are so scummy. And I actually have like more video ideas I'm going to start pumping out, just dumping on financial advisors. And eventually I want to get to a point where I actually could get one on my channel. I want to debate them live.
You should, dude, bringing your wife into that was smart. People love that shit. You're a couple. I don't know why you and her don't do videos talking about stock market.
I mean, she's not into stocks. I mean, she likes doing the video thing, like just, it's something we can do together as a couple, but she has zero interest in investing. So
what you do is just slam her money into an index fund.
Yeah, I mean, we have the exact same portfolio. Like it's mostly VT, and then I have a little bit of small cap value and a little bit of real estate, and that's it. And that's for both. I mean, I have like 5% of hers in ARK, but that's it.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the way to go. It's like, like I said, I bought some midstream companies when oil was artificially depressed, but I didn't put more than $1,000.
What are your thoughts on that, Jay?
I don't have any confidence in NIO either. I don't have confidence in the EV market. It's just too risky to me. If you want to buy it, buy it. I don't care. But I mean, like we were talking about earlier, you have the legacy automakers that are coming in. And like I said, at a certain point, the world's going to wake up to the fact that EVs aren't the clean electricity that people think that it is.
I mean, even like not even talking about the technology, there are tons of car companies and they all have EV vehicles or they're working on developing them. And Tesla's valuation right now, it's just ridiculous.
NIO is grossly overvalued too. I mean, if you're asking me where I'm going to put my money, it's not going to be NIO. I doubled my money on it because I knew there was a rational. I bought it 23 and sold it at like 48, but that's because I just gambled that people would artificially push up the value.
I think he might have left. I don't think he liked our answer.
No, because that's the thing that happens now. People are getting emotionally married to it. Listen, I could have all the confidence in the world in Baba stock, and I would listen to you if you gave me the contrarian opinion on it without getting mad, because I want to hear what is the contrarian argument against whatever this stock is. People are getting emotionally married to it.
I mean, there are contrarians against Alibaba, and it's just because it's a Chinese company, and you don't know if their financials are accurate. I mean, that's a big problem.
Yeah, that's why I'm not snapping up even more. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm actually, so I have a little speculative part of my portfolio, and I have VT, VBR, VNQ, and then I have 2.5% Walmart, because I just love Walmart, and I have 2.5%. And I'm just going to let that ride and it's just in my Roth, so it's not a big deal. I don't have that much money in there. And that's basically all I'm doing for any kind of individual stocks.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, you can tell that it's irrational exuberance when people don't even want to hear you out on Tesla. That's why it's like you're married to the idea of this stock exploding now.
Well, yeah, because especially if they're like 100% Tesla, I mean, that money that they've made is addicting. It's like, oh my God, I sextupled my money. And the thought that you could potentially lose all that would probably crush you, Well,
dude, Tesla was an excellent buy when you were buying it back at now in hindsight, when you were buying it at 190, 150, that was beautiful. Take your profits. You'll be able to buy it back cheaper than it is at now later on. I guaranteed.
Oh yeah. And people think that they have to get like the best profit of anybody else. Like if you double your money, you doubled your money. It doesn't freaking matter if some bozo tripled his money. He's probably going to take that money and buy something stupid and be broke. So if you double your money and you think the stock is overvalued, just freaking sell some of it. You're going to be fine. You doubled your money.
It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter what the individual company is. So if I made some speculative bet and it paid off and it's in my Roth IRA, even if I think that it has possibility for further growth, I'm taking a substantial portion of that and putting it into an index fund where I know it's safe.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing with my wife. Like if ARC goes to 10%, right now it's at 5. If it goes to 10% of her portfolio, I'm freaking selling 5%. I'm putting it into VT. You know, and I'll
Yeah.
take the wins.
So like when people ask me my opinion of Tesla, right? If you bought it at $200, right? Let's just say you're a total Tesla geek. You bought it at $200, and right now you're looking at it and ask yourself this: Tesla stock after the stock before the stock split would now be worth $3,500. You want to buy Amazon or Tesla? I'd rather buy Amazon. But let's just say that I was some dude, some half autistic kid who got in on Tesla and is obsessed with it. What I would do is this: I'm a Tesla millionaire now. Good, keep it that way. Sell 900,000 of it in your Roth IRA. Buy an index fund. Thank me later. Buy me a beer. Buy me a bottle of Lagavulin 16.
Yeah, but somebody else might make a little bit more money than them, so they can't do that.
No, I know. It's a Nio could shoot to, after I sold it, Nio could shoot to $1,000 next week. I'd be disappointed that I didn't hang on to it longer, but I'm not really going to cry that I made 100% profit on it.
No, you're done, dude. You're a complete failure. Your life is over. You only doubled your money.
Yeah. Well, it's with the quantitative easing and the massive amounts of liquidity slushing into the markets, man. All this money chasing the same stocks is just, we can't give away the edge in EVs. If we do that, the Chinese will also own the EV market. We have to support our industry. I agree with you in supporting our industries, but I'm just not paying $1,400 for $1 in profit.
Yeah, we're not saying Tesla's a bad company or we hate
I
it.
don't.
You know,
I don't think.
it's just
Yeah,
like the price.
yeah. It's just where it is now.
I have an answer to this, by the way.
Go for it, dude.
Okay, so in the global finance, we get a lot of money from investors overseas as well. And if you look at our history, a lot of our industries, like the railroad industry back in the 1800s, we got money from foreign investors. So if you go along the line of saying, well, if we invest overseas, then we're un-American, and we stop doing that, well, we could have retaliations from other countries, and people won't invest in our industries. So it's not bad that you're investing into a Chinese company if it benefits the world as a whole. But if you start doing these trade barriers, trade wars, and refusing to invest in foreign countries, they'll do the same for you, and that can hurt you in the long run as well.
Yeah, man. And I mean, here's the problem. If you put your money in one of the safest investments, let's just say you want to add exposure to your portfolio, right? You're like, all right, man, America's kind of overheated right now. I want to grab some of the international market. Well, a lot of these index funds own Alibaba anyways. So you're investing. The entire system is dirty any way we look at it. There's no way around it.
I mean, you sort of look at it from a global perspective. I mean, it's not just either you buy American companies or you don't. I mean, like even American companies sell crap overseas. So if you start these trade wars, you're going to screw American companies too.
Yeah. China, they're a problem, man. I don't disagree with you about supporting American companies. I try to buy everything I own, everything I buy now. I try to buy made in America. I'm willing, and I try to avoid buying from the Chinese, but I mean, Alibaba's going to take off. I don't have confidence that any American EV market, China's just not going to allow it.
And here's the thing, like I said earlier, they steal our technology. And that there's a Tesla plant in China. There probably has spies all over the place trying to steal our freaking technology, you know?
Bro, don't you have to give them equity in your company?
I don't know that wouldn't surprise me.
Dude, you know, the downfall of Kodak was partially for that. I didn't know this. My brother explained to me. When Kodak went over there, they just jacked all their technology and started selling it. because I'm from Rochester, New York. Kodak was basically Rochester's. That was the biggest employer there. Everybody worked for Kodak, and then the company was just hollowed out after NAFTA. And once they entered the Chinese market, that was the death knell for them. They actually invented OLED technology and digital photography.
Yeah, I mean, just like I'm not an economist, but just from what I've been reading recently, you kind of want to let industries that you suck at go away, but industries that you have an advantage at, you let those naturally.
America excels at making complex technology.
Yeah,
and like I said,
let that flourish and not worry. Okay, well, if a hammer's made in China, but we're making, a chip that we send to China, is that really hurting us? I don't think.
But it gives me the feel goods to buy made in USA. But also I always say this. I'm going to tell you that my opinions on the stock market are my opinions, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're right. I could be proven wrong tomorrow. I'm not an expert, so don't just go on. For this guy watching, don't just go on what I'm saying as the gospel. There is so much I don't know about investing. I don't know how to do mean regression. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I know how to do, and that this is from accounting. Like, I'm not a finance guy, but I know how to do I know how to find discount, like the cash flows, calculate that, and then discount it based on a discount.
Yeah, present value.
Yeah, I mean, and then I guess you have terminal value like that. I learned some of that stuff, but I'm not like the expert at evaluating individual stocks, and really nobody is because they're everybody applies a different discount rate. What rate do you use?
Yeah, and they also apply a different growth rate. You're making assumptions on what a company's going to do based upon.
You just don't know. I mean, it's just
based upon the people that work at the company that want the highest valuation for the company. Oh, we're going to grow at 25% for the next 10 years. That's my guess. Okay. And then, see, I hate when people say this. They say diversification is just a hedge against inflation or a hedge against ignorance. Yeah, because there's a lot of shit you're ignorant of. Like, I didn't know in January that there was a virus of unknown, unspecified origins about to burn through the planet.
I mean,
ignorant.
Yeah, I didn't know that. If you didn't predict the tech bubble, if you didn't predict the housing crash, if you didn't predict COVID, who are you to say that you're this expert? You don't know crap. Nobody can predict the future. That's why finance is an imprecise art, because you're trying to make the best guess you possibly can, but it's not a fact. There are no facts in finance.
Oh, I agree completely. And, this is the thing. As long as somebody has a logical, well thought out reason about why they're investing into a company, even if I disagree with it, I don't have a problem with it. My problem with Tesla is this. I had a person walk into the break room and look at me at work and go, I should buy Tesla stock, right? I told you this last time. And then I looked at her and I go, have you maxed out your thrift savings program? And she goes,
what's that?
No. and she has it. And then I asked, okay, so why are you buying Tesla? And she said, because that's what everybody's telling me to buy. And I'm like,
it's so simple. It's supply and demand. If people are hyping up a stock, more people want to buy a fixed number of shares of stock. That increases the price. But the only reason the price is going up is because more and more and more and more people are buying it. So if you hear these freaking people talking about buying the stock, it's probably growing.
I don't buy it.
People are getting duped. Yeah, it's a bad idea.
I'll listen to you. I'll listen to the guy at work if he's like, hey, man, you heard about this company? You need to look into it. But once it reaches critical mass for the people that aren't into it, I just go, okay, well, I'm out. And also, like I told you about Bitcoin, I don't understand the technology, so I don't buy it.
There's nothing.
I don't understand it. I don't understand what it is. I don't understand what we're doing here. I'm not buying it. End of story. I may speculate with 0.5%, dip my toe in the market, take a little nibble. If I see Bitcoin drop from 28,000 to 17,000, I might take a little nibble. and be
No,
like,
dude, I think it's at like 33 or 32. Like it's basically Bitcoin and Tesla, the two things that I hate the most, have been skyrocketing.
well, what did we talk about? We talked about the stimulus.
Yeah, I don't feel wrong. Like I think I always think long term. Okay, Bitcoin went up 5,000 last month. I don't care. Because like maybe in 5 months it's going to go down to 20 or whatever. But a lot of people, it's like, oh, he doesn't like Bitcoin and Tesla, and they've tripled. Kind of grinds my gears.
I agree with it. It's a margin of safety on things like that. Okay, like I said before, you may strive to get 30% per year. You're not going to get it. I'm satisfied with getting the average returns, get rich slowly, like Warren Buffett says.
Yeah, but here's the thing. People think average is like 50%. If you get the average return, if you get the index's returns, you've beat probably 80% of investors.
95%.
95%. You've crushed everybody. And I actually found this beautiful chart that it showed like over a 15-year time period for every asset class, like every small cap value, small cap growth, everything. Active managers lost like 90% of the time for every freaking asset class. Every single one.
Have you heard of, do you know what the Wellington Fund is on Vanguard?
I've seen it. I've never invested in it.
It's one of the first index fund. It's a balanced fund, so it contains stocks and bonds. It has returned 8% since 1929. Now, past performance is no guarantee of future performance, but if I had to bet on a horse, I want to bet on one with a long track record.
Yeah, especially if it's active management. I mean, that's the only thing you have.
No, it's passively managed. So there's a low fee on it. I think the expense ratio is like 0.2, something like that.
What is it, like a specific asset allocation they do, or like?
I'd have to actually look it up to remember, but I think probably 70 or 80 stocks, then 20% bonds. But I mean, I just looked at it one day and I was like, that was actually Wellington hired Bogle. So Bogle worked at the company that owned the Wellington Fund and then eventually left, or I think he might have gotten fired is what happened, because he said getting fired was one of the greatest things that ever happened to him because it taught him to not overestimate his ability in investing. And then when he started Vanguard, I think they acquired the Wellington company, but the Wellington company still operates independently. Now, I could be way off. That could have been bro scienced out, but I think at least 20% of that is correct. So I mean, if I'm going to throw my money at that or Tesla, it's a no-brainer.
Oh, here we go.
Somebody mad at me again?
No, I don't think he's mad.
All right. So, yeah, I get that. You have to just look at the money rushing into it right now. Like I said earlier, I don't think that Tesla is a bad company. I just think it is completely overvalued right now. And I think it's irrational exuberance. As far as like the battery technology, now I'm going to bro science out here for a minute, but I was listening to an actual physicist talk about this. Yeah, no, I get it. It's like why I said if you were buying Tesla stock in the $100 or $200 range, I wouldn't really rag on it. It's just at the $700 now or $3,500, which if I had $3,500 to invest in Tesla or Amazon, I choose Amazon. But that's just my personal choice. But I was listening to a physicist talk about this, and he said, you're running up against the fundamental limitations of physics when it comes to battery technology. Now, in order to power the world through these green technologies that everybody wants to talk about, you're going to have to get hundreds of times the improvement performance in your batteries. That is actually not possible within the limitations of physics. We'll go with the AI thing. Sure, driving in a city can be mastered relatively easy. Try getting an in. I don't know, the AI experts that I watched on it could be wrong. I'm an idiot. I'm just going to flat out say it. But it's just, I don't think you should buy Tesla right now, is what I'm saying. And I think if you own it, you should take profits. That's all I'm saying. Huh? Go ahead.
It's not it's a bad company. It's a bad company. It's just too expensive right now. If you bought one share of Tesla, or no, so if you invested $1,400, if you put 1,400, that's two stimulus checks or more than two stimulus checks, you would get $1 in earnings after that year.
And I think Amazon's PE ratio is what, 90?
Let me look.
Are you still on, brother?
I'm not seeing anybody on.
No. Yeah, like he said, did you get disconnected or did I?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably me. I'm gonna go take a piss since I don't think anybody's watching right now.
Well, this guy is, but
so I'm seeing 0 people watching. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, 0 people watching. I'm gonna take a piss. Well, he asked, did you get disconnected or deny? Maybe that's why 0 people are watching. I'm gonna go take a piss too if you're taking one, and we'll be back in a second.
Don't leave. We are peeing. Oh, he is here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go piss. If you
All
want
right.
to, we pee very fast. Okay. I just checked my phone. I got some hate mail from Susie Orman fans because I trolled her page too.
What did they say, dude?
Like something about prenups, and I said prenups are the evilest thing. Even if you're a billionaire, you shouldn't sign a prenup. And people were like, ooh.
Dude, that's what we should do is just become professional financial trolls.
I mean, with the amount of financial advisors that are out there, it is so easy. There's so much material, man. Like I could for my entire life on financial.
Well, dude, here's the thing. I hate that these people act like they're experts. At least you and I freely admit we're like, yeah, we're still learning stuff. Because here's the thing. You should always be, if you have a hobby, you should always be learning something new about your hobby.
I mean, but they're not experts. Like I was one. I know exactly what they freaking do. They are complete scum. They have no skill. The only skill they have is memorizing a bunch of words to convince you to buy crap products. That's it. That's all they are.
Yeah, and here's the thing, man. I'm knowledgeable enough that I could go in front of people. Look, you put me in front of a dude like Bill Ackman, that dude, or Jamie Dimon, that dude, those dudes are going to eat me alive. But I'm knowledgeable enough, and I can learn fast enough to get up there on stage and talk around people and steal people's money. I just have way too high ethics to do that kind of thing to people because I understand what it's like to work for $1. That's why I hate these financial YouTubers that are like, here, take my course. It's $300. I don't really teach you anything. Oh, look at me, how thrifty I am. I'm going to make a video about how thrifty I am at 20 while I'm driving my Nissan GTR, which is a $120,000 car because I made all my money on YouTube, Ryan Scribner.
Yeah. I'd be curious to see what his actual net worth is. I bet you he doesn't have as much as you think because he probably just
Jeremy Lefebvre straight lied about his $200,000 portfolio in the 7 years because it's just not possible that he could have amassed that fortune. And we talked about him before, My Rich Journey. Okay, well, you're out here talking about your Vanguard funds, and I'm going to call you a fucking idiot because you have the TSP. You should be putting $19,500 a year in it. And if you're not doing that, don't come and talk to me about how you're an expert on this stuff.
Oh, we have a question here. I've never heard of this. Let me look at the price to earnings ratio.
Is Perishing Square, is that Bill Ackman's company?
I've never heard of that.
I don't think I've heard of these guys.
Yeah. Here.
You found? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. So it's a special acquisition company. I don't really know enough about that to actually intelligently comment. I haven't done research on it. Like I said, I don't invest in something I don't understand or I haven't done research on. I'd rather throw it in an index fund. But I mean, if you know something about it, I've just recently heard about these things. I'm just moving into a house in the past month. I haven't really had time to do any research. So, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know the thing about that either. But maybe, in my opinion, no matter what it is, even if it seems like it's the most amazing company in the world, you don't want to have more than 5% of that as your total portfolio. So, I mean, if you think something's cool, buy it. But just keep it to 5% or less of your portfolio, and then have everything else in broadly diversified index funds.
Yeah, that's like what you said to me is the smartest form of investment. You set a number at what you want, say Tesla stock at. You're like, okay, well, I'm going to have Tesla stock at 3% of my portfolio. You start taking profits as long as it's in your Roth after that, and you keep it there. Because, like we talked about it before, God forbid, I don't want it to happen, so I need to make that clear. But if something happens to Elon Musk, I don't have any confidence that Tesla will continue. I haven't seen a brilliant successor like Tim Cook, to Apple. So that's my thoughts on it. Anything can and does happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you never concentrate in any one stock, ever. I mean, even me being in Walmart, maybe that's a stupid decision. I don't know, but it's only 2.5% of my Roth. So worst case.
Walmart's a great investment, dude. I think Walmart's due for a dip once the economy reopens. And I actually think Walmart's too expensive right now. But it's a great company. Why would you? It's somebody. Hey man, I'm buying Walmart. It's a good choice.
I just love it, man. That's the only reason I have it. I just love it. I spend all my money there.
And to be clear, I'm buying Tesla. Okay, how much is it? It's $100. Okay, I'll get behind that.
Yeah, I would definitely buy Tesla. I would say if it went down to probably between $50 and $100, which is a pretty good for a growth company, for extremely growth company. Okay, then maybe I'd think about it. Right now,
I wouldn't even be complaining to people if Tesla was at like 3 after the split, post split, between $300 and $400. I don't know that I would pay that, but I don't think that I would look at you and say that's a bad idea.
I'm all about the people. If it's over 100, I'm not touching it, even for the most speculative stock.
Oh no. Well, dude, the worst thing that's happening now is these YouTubers are pushing people into penny stocks like Planet 13. Dude, Planet 13 is a weed company. Is a weed company out in Nevada. Now, let me explain this. Once you start talking about the weed market, even though I can't use it now, you've now entered my world. Because if you give me the choice between weed or alcohol, I take weed all day. But there is, once weed becomes legal, now you've got to deal with the economies of scale from companies like Anheuser-Busch. Everybody is going to rush into the market. And Planet 13 is one of these special places where you go, you pay extra money because there's these bud tenders there that are dressed nice, like the Apple geniuses. And I'm like, yeah, man, people that smoke weed don't give a fuck about that. They just want their weed cheap. That's how that works. Like, just like, get out of here with that. Like,
what
and again,
are hyping the stock?
It's Jeremy LaFave, and he's got enough followers to push the needle on it.
Honestly, it's almost like you could do a strategy where if you had like play money, you watch his stocks, you buy them, and once they go up like 30%, you freaking sell them like a pump and dump.
Yeah.
That could be a strategy because, like, his followers are going to be like, he said to buy it, I'm going to buy it. And then it's going to skyrocket,
I told you, there is one guy on YouTube, the Dream Green Show with Zeke. I only watch it because I like the dude's personality. I don't take his investment advice serious, although I don't think that he's terrible. I'm like,
called?
The Dream Green Show with your host Zeke. It's a black guy with dreads, and I just like his personalities. And he likes scotch, so I'm like, I get along with this dude, and that's why I watch his show. But I don't, dude. Yeah, but I don't. I wouldn't. He's all about the dividends. I wouldn't follow his investing advice. I'm not saying it's bad. That's just not my way. I'm more like you, 95% in index funds, because any way you look at it, when I told you about that Vanguard healthcare sector, it's returned 15% since 1984. Okay, so it's the dichotomy of this. You're stuck in a house doing discounted cash values to get a 15% return on your portfolio, which you won't get, whereas I just threw money at that and fucked off to the beach. What is a more productive use of my time?
I mean, because the vast majority of people are not stock traders. No, the vast majority of people just want to make sure their retirement's good, but they don't want to spend any more than a couple hours on it. And the best way to do that is to buy a freaking index and stay the course, and you'll be fine. And you'll probably be richer than most of the dude bro day traders out there.
Well, Dave Ramsey gets this one thing right when he says, I know people that know absolutely nothing about the stock market, that just maxed out their 401ks, that have way more money than these finance guys.
Yeah, because they think they're smarter than the market. I mean, it's kind of like, the way I see it is like back when there was communism, they thought they could like plan the entire economy, that they could factor in every variable, that they were so smart, and then it completely freaking failed. And now we have people that are like somehow predicting every variable that goes into a stock. And somehow they think that they're able to predict it all. And it's just impossible. You can't do it. You just let the market do.
Yeah, because next Tuesday, some central planner or some finance dude is going to understand that I suddenly got a craving for hot dogs.
It's like if you're analyzing Tesla stock, how do you really know how big this company is going to be? How do you truly know? You can't account for every variable. Maybe Elon Musk dies.
Like I said too, the assumptions on how many cars you're going to sell are just that, assumptions.
Well, so I saw a recent announcement. They had a target and they just hit the target. They didn't like blow the target out of the water with their car sales. So they're not growing at this massive rate that's even defying all expectations, if that makes sense.
Well, dude, I'm glad you said what you said, because it reminds me of something I was going to tell you. I didn't respond to this comment, but there was the Thomas Sowell saying, I don't understand why wanting to keep your money is considered greed and stealing your money is not considered greed. Something to that effect. One of my comedian friends, he's a good dude. I was actually trying to teach him to invest because he's 30 and he doesn't have any investments. I'm like, you need to double down now, bro. You need to get serious. But he posted this chart with Jeff Bezos' wealth, and it's supposed to be the actual size of somebody's wealth. And I can't explain to you on social media about how Jeff Bezos' net worth, he doesn't have $200 billion. He's not Smog sitting in a cave on his dragon gold. That's his estimated net worth from his Amazon stock. And if he actually sold all that stock, the stock price would plummet because he has so much of it. Number two, he didn't take anything from you. He expanded the pie. And number three was what I wanted to ask him. Do you know how best to spend your money, or does some bureaucrat in Washington know how to best spend your money? Because last time I checked, they sent $10 billion to Pakistan for gender studies, which represents a unit, however small, of my time that I spent working for the government. And I wasn't, hey, Jay, are you willing to work 1 second to send money to Pakistan to study gender studies? No, I'm not. I don't care. I'm not doing it.
Well, by the time you answer, you already did the work.
Yeah, right? So it's, dude, yeah, but I can't explain that to him in social media. Well, I'm just like, I didn't even acknowledge it. I'm like,
I don't even bother. It's like, whatever. I kind of have these phrases that I say to kind of like mock the whole concept of communism and socialism. And hopefully it like kind of sinks in, like, just give me all your money, bro. That's basically what it is. But
they're not getting it. They're not, like, I don't understand how people don't understand this about socialism and communism.
I know exactly why, because they don't understand how much taxes are really coming out of their paycheck. I guarantee you.
But, I get that too, but this is what I don't understand. How do you not understand that communism and socialism encourage the vicious? That's how that works. They say that it's about kindness, but it's really not. Because I'm a soldier, right? Me, you, or I was an airman. You order me to take somebody's factory, does not compute. I didn't sign an oath to you. I signed an oath to the Constitution. Now I'm replaced with the jackbooted thug that will take said factory. That's how that works. And it's like Antifa's finding out real quick right now that the mayor of Portland is denouncing them, that they were just useful idiots. And the useful idiots, when you install communism, are always the first person they kill. They're going to come for me last.
I mean, they're not even tough people. They're just kind of weak and they don't lift. They're just not impressive. Like they wouldn't last a second in any kind of like, real.
Don't know how to do it. Well, it was like there was this Antifa dude that it said it's a pleasure. He was a criminal justice major and he was on Tucker Carlson, and he was arguing with Tucker Carlson. He was saying, he said in class, it's an honor to teach future dead cops, and he got fired from his job, but he's this soft, feminine dude with an extremely unusually long giraffe neck. And the whole time I'm listening to this dude talk, I'm just thinking, does this guy understand how vulnerable he is to a rear naked choke if I take him down? Like, that's a big neck, dude. That's a long, skinny neck. And once I get this under here and the hand behind, it's sleepy time. But I
completely ignore it. It's like, okay, you're just a weak little punk. It's like, oh yeah, you're so tough. You can tweet something at me. It's like, okay, I don't engage it. I'm too busy debating Dave Ramsey followers.
Yeah, right. Oh, dude, I'm impressed by how tough you are. You beat up a 50-year-old guy to take his American flag. Now I respect you. But they found out that they're just useful idiots, because now, after the election, they were just political pawns. Biden won. And what they're going to do is there's going to be a bunch of Antifa dudes that end up in jail for their crimes. And you're going to find out. You're just useful to the political elite.
And I mean, like, I think the vast majority of them just have nothing going for them. It's like, if you don't have, a good job, or you don't have like something to look forward to, and you're just completely nihilistic, okay, maybe you would join an organization like that because there's nothing else. But if you have like goals you want to achieve, you don't have time to screw around with that kind of BS. Like I can't. I don't want to get arrested. I have too much to do. I don't have time to burn stuff down.
It's like I told you about that dude that wanted to move into my house, and I had to basically explain to him that his weakness would undermine my mission, and I can't let that happen. I don't have a mission. He's looking at me weird. He's like, "What's your mission?" I'm like, "Stand-up comedian, do podcast, make stock videos. Mission. Anything that deviates from that gets dropped." Like, your weakness will bother me. You'll be sitting around my house not being productive, and it will piss me off.
Like, a big problem is video games. And like, I don't hate video games and I play them, but some guys just get so addicted that that's all they do. And it like hacks their reward system. So they're just playing and playing, and they never do anything except the video game because they're just so addicted to it. And I get it now that I'm a little bit older, but
Oh, dude. Listen, I got a fucking monster in me that gets addicted to stuff. I have to keep that shit under control. Trust me, I know how addictive video games can be. Like The Witcher and Skyrim sucked thousands of hours of my life.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I don't know what's happened to me, but in like the last year or two, I just can't seem to find a game to really get addicted to. Like, the last one that I was addicted to was RuneScape. And then I just got bored of it and I put it down. And like ever since then, I don't have anything to do. So I started doing YouTube.
Yeah, well, I'm a story guy in the game. So like I'm more of an RPG player. So if I can't find a good RPG, the last game I got really into was God of War. It had everything that you need to get me in. Kratos is killing fucking Nordic gods. You got Nordic mythology. I'm in, man. So after that, I'm like, oh, you don't have a good action adventure or RPG for me. Plus, I told you I fucked up my hands. So I have a lot of tendonitis in them, and it comes back. Well, I played Red Dead Redemption 2. That was a great game.
You need to get like a brain implant where you can like think the game instead of using your hands.
I don't want that shit in my head. I'll take like a sunglasses. You put them on, and it responds to my eye movement.
Your eye twitches to control the game.
yeah, dude. But probably gonna. But I mean, right now, having a full-time job, not a bad estimate. I don't know.
We'll see. I don't.
Well, wait, actually,
hey, thanks for tuning in.
Hey, man, but I mean, appreciate you listening. Thanks for the contrarian opinion, man. Jump in if we do this again. That was great.
And subscribe to our channels.
But
I think he left.
Yeah, I just don't agree with him. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, hey, maybe he has some knowledge I don't have. Look, if I'm forced to eat crow on Tesla, I'll eat my crow. You know what I mean? Like, I'll sit there and happily eat it and smile and say, I was completely wrong. But as long as my logic is sound on something, I don't have a problem being wrong.
I mean, even if Tesla does go up, you're still not wrong. It's just stupid to buy into a stock that has tons of competition and is at a 1,400 price to earnings ratio. Like, you're not wrong. It's safer to not stock like that.
Well, brother, I really do think we're going to get a lot of subscribers when we're actually proven right on things. That's my opinion on it. When it's like played back, these two dudes were getting drunk and talking about how there was way too much irrational exuberance in the EV market. They were talking about.
We're on to something. Like, I think this like making index investing exciting and like, okay, you can speculate, because all the bogleheads, like the people that do like the index investing, they're all freaking boring. Have you ever tried to watch some of their videos? I want to blow my freaking brains out.
Yeah, dude. Look, man, there's a lot of boring personalities out there in the world that have made it on YouTube. And I just look at them and I'm like, that's what gives me the confidence when I get a subscriber, I get super excited. But when nobody subscribes, I just think, that guy can do it. He's pretty boring. I think I can do this too.
Oh, it's just consistency. And like, I've had to use so many different tactics, like trolling Dave Ramsey, trolling Susie Orman, whatever. I have a Facebook, all this crap, and I have like 73 now after like 6 months. So it's like this super slow process. But I think once you start getting up there, it'll really start accelerating.
But it's like the compounding effect. When I started watching the Critical Drinkers videos a year ago, he had maybe 50,000 followers, and now he's up to like 400 or something like that. I love his takes on pop culture, and I'm like, this is a dude I could get drunk with.
Yeah, I mean, like it's getting through that initial barrier of, I would say like 5 or 10,000. Like once you're at 10,000, you're pretty like substantial, and if you're good, then you'll really start to like pick up steam. But it's getting in there that's the really hard part.
Well, the problem for me is I don't want to just do any one thing. That's not how my brain works. I don't want to just make stock videos. I want to throw up me doing stand-up. I want to talk about things I want to talk about that I see in the media.
Well, for your YouTube channel, you're doing the thing you're doing is you're talking about like current events, which I think is good because you have a consistent thing that you're doing. But if you start like throwing in random crap, it's going to make it harder to grow your channel.
Yeah, I agree. I just figured though, I'm like, just stay true to yourself, man.
You can do like another YouTube channel. Like I was thinking about doing like strongman accounting, and that's something I might do in the future where I just freaking teach accounting,
You should. Why accounting's related to finance?
Yeah, I'm not serious if I should just do it on my channel though, or if I should do like a new channel.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with a new channel. I think part of understanding investing is understanding accounting.
Yeah, so maybe like do like 2 videos a week. Because once I start going back to work, I'm not gonna have time to do as much crap as I've been doing. So maybe like one video would be finance, shitting on Tesla, and then one video would be accounting. 2 videos a week.
Yeah, and it can cross pollinate. There's no reason why you can't bring finance into that and how it there's sister disciplines. I've told you before, accounting is the better discipline, but they're brother and sister, man.
Yeah, finance is definitely a cool thing to learn. Like it interests me more learning about like stocks and finance, but accounting is just better for like, getting a job in the accounting field. So that's why I studied it. But I like finance.
They're related. That's all I really mean by that. Like accounting is probably the better base to learn finance than finance.
When it comes to fundamental analysis, 100%. Because you're looking at balance sheets, income statements, statement of cash flows. I don't know what the hell that stuff was until I had to like beat it into my brain, and now I can read a balance sheet pretty easily.
Well, this is the thing, that you have to get across to people. In order to be able to be an effective investor, if you want to buy individual stocks, you have to understand how to read a balance sheet.
Well, here's the thing. I think to be a value investor, you really like. I think if you're trained as an accountant, you're more likely to be a value investor because you're looking at like you said, all the financial statements. Whereas if you don't even understand that crap, you just try to find the next hot stock, a growth stock. You're probably going to be more of that kind of guy if you're not accounting.
I agree with you. And also my philosophy on things is value investing always works. Growth investing doesn't always work. I would rather do the thing that always works. It's like, you wrestled. If you can get the guaranteed takedown, like it's this, man. In wrestling, I bet it was taught to you, like it is in BJJ, that the basics just always work. So why not get really good at the basics?
Yeah, that's like I
You
had
can
a
always,
commander of the army. He called it blocking and tackling. It was just like the basic things: how to shoot, how to talk on a radio, physical fitness. Like if you know the basics, you're going to be good at everything else.
well, if you listen to like Rogan, he'll talk about a guy has a very basic Brazilian jiu-jitsu game. And he doesn't mean that as an insult because it just always works. They've mastered a few moves. It's like the Bruce Lee thing where he said, I don't fear the guy that knows 1,000 kicks. I fear the guy that knows one kick and he's done it 1,000 times. So it's like if you understand the basics, you're just always going to get it done. You're going to be consistently profitable. When you start going in, 50% of my portfolio is growth. Okay, well, good, but you can't anticipate that, how that's going to work out down the line.
I think the vast majority of people, and I've been super guilty of this, and only recently have I really internalized to stop doing this. But I really think a lot of people just look at past returns over the last 5 or 10 years, and that's all they base their investment decision on. And that's literally the worst way to do it. And I've done it myself because it's hard to do that, But it's the worst way to do it.
No, I agree with you. I've done that. It's like you get into this, it'll always do this mentality when it's like you have to apply Murphy's Law to investing. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, man. It's better to just be safe.
Like I'm not cool with the U.S. stock market going over the next 10 years. Like you were saying, I feel much more comfortable having that big, international component and then having like small cap value and stuff in there because I'm really not cool with, the large cap tech companies going forward.
I'm not confident in it at all, especially when you have Charlie Munger speaking out about it. One thing that comes with age, and you can attest to this, is acknowledging when somebody is smarter and more knowledgeable than you and taking their advice. That seems to be an extremely hard thing that's been lost in modern society. But it's like, listen, if I'm talking to somebody and I recognize that they are more knowledgeable about the subject and smarter than me, I'm going to heed their warnings. And Charlie Munger has come out and said, expect a lost decade. Now, do I think a lost decade is a bad thing? No, not at all. Because you had a lost decade after the tech boom.
Only if you're retired. Huh? Only if you're actually retired.
Yeah, then it's a bad thing. But I mean, if we have time to work, then basically the profit is wrung out. Now you need time for the economy to expand. So you're buying that stuff. Eventually that stuff becomes cheap and then it shoots up again. And there's been lost decades before, like the Great Depression. You were glad that you stayed in the market the 20 years later when that stock market finally exploded again.
I mean, you're truly an excellent investor if you survive a lost decade without changing your allocation. If you stick to your 40 US, 60 international, or whatever you are, and even if US sucks for a decade, if you stick to it and just keep buying consistently at that low price, you win because eventually you're going to be rewarded for staying the course.
Yeah, well, it's like this. I talk about how value it's been tough to be a value investor. Has it really though? You haven't you're not, if you're stuck with the value approach, it means a good thing. You weren't chasing gains. And with quantitative easing, the party lasts till the party lasts. I keep telling people the printing money will work till it doesn't. And I had this conversation in the sauna today, and the guy said, but why can't we continue printing money? And I said, okay, if deficits don't matter and we can print all the money we want, Let's give everybody $5 million tomorrow. I'm like, now when you go to the grocery store, all that $5 million is chasing that steak.
Yeah, it's a temporary fix. It's not a long-term solution. It's like, okay, we need some juice. Because people when they get money for free, they go and spend it and they get really excited. And it's like a temporary boost to hopefully like get the economy running again. But if you're just printing money, it's literally just paper. That's all it is. And if you lose confidence in that paper, you're screwed.
Yeah. I went to the gun store today to get some oil and a cleaning kit. And the dude just told me, he goes, people are paying ridiculous prices for guns. I can't even keep them in stock. Another example of people taking their stimulus check and buying shit. I got $600. Looks like I got a new gun. I got $1,200. Looks like I got a new gun. I got $1,200. Looks like I got another Tesla share.
I think 90% of the stimulus money went to Tesla.
No, I agree. More of it went into Tesla than guns. But no, it's just, but this guy said this to me with a straight face. But why can't we continue to print money? And, he talked about the student debt. And I go, I support forgiveness of student debt if all the money comes out of college endowments. I'm not paying for your bad decisions.
Oh, dude, I have a story about that. So today, we actually were like buying baby shit. Like we're going to like people's houses on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
And we were going to get some stuff. And there's this college. It's called Christopher Newport University. I'm driving through this college just to like check it out. And these super nice buildings. And they have these frat houses. They're like the most gorgeous, beautiful, perfect frat houses I've ever seen. And I'm like, why are we spending all this money with the federal government to literally just build these super nice buildings that just let kids party for 4 years? Like, it's so ridiculous. And it just clicked with me just driving through this beautiful campus. And it was surrounded by like a bunch of shit, just terrible houses, all that. But the campus was beautiful because all the students have to have the best possible stuff.
Dude, yeah, look, people wouldn't like my answer, and I'm just going to tell you, they say, be the man you needed when you were young. So I'm going to be the man that I needed when I was young on the college thing. Here's what college is, motherfucker. You're going to sleep on a goddamn shitty mattress. You're going to eat ramen noodles, and you're going to learn what it is to suffer. And you're going to get the grades and do the work, and we're not paying for it because that's part of it. You need to learn. This is not about you partying for 4 years. This is not about the lifestyle and the college experience. This is about giving you the skills that you need to survive and thrive in life. And that would be my opinion of what college, it would basically be the Spartan agoge. If you ask me, I'd be like, you guys are going to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai also at college, and you're going to learn how to shoot guns. And you're going to learn the basics that you need in life. You're going to learn how to look at a politician and go, yeah, you're a lying scumbag. Promising me free shit just so I get addicted to that government dole.
They need to make like basic accounting mandatory. They should have like a personal finance class. And I don't know if micro and macro are prerequisites for the average person.
They should be.
If they're not, they should be. Like all those basic subjects will really help you become a super informed citizen.
Well, I told you like my viewpoint on things. Like if it's not a language and it doesn't contain mathematics, it's not an actual degree.
It's something you can learn on your own. It's as simple as
that. Yeah,
like you don't spend money for it. And
somebody's watching. I'll put it out to the zeitgeist. Gender studies is not a real degree. Sorry, it's not. Poli-science is not a real degree to me. It's just not. I had to go.
What are you doing for 4 years? You're just learning this ideology, but what skill are you learning to take out on the real world? You're not. You're just learning stuff that you can't really use to do a job. So what's the point of doing it for 4 freaking years?
Yeah, because if you look at me and you go, dude, I need you to read balance sheets, all I need to do is say to you, give me a weekend to refresh my memory.
Yeah, I mean, like once you have that basic knowledge, you're always going to have it. Like I can be a tax person, I can be an auditor, I can be a financial analyst, I can do all of that. I just need a little bit of refresher. But if you're somebody that did gender studies, you literally have no skill. There's no way you can learn all that crap in a week. You're gonna have to take years.
Plus, this is what I'm going to say. I think it is disgusting. I'm going to talk about my niece in a second. I think it is disgusting that a grown person in their 30s, 40s, or 50s looks at a person that wants to major in some BS stuff at school and tells them that loading themselves up with $100,000 in debt is objectively a smarter decision than going to a trade school. It's the same thing with financial planners. You have, like, to me, I'm just going to look at you and be like, dude, you have no ethics, you have no integrity. I don't want to be associated with you. If you're telling like a child that, and sorry, 18 years old, you're a child.
Yeah, I mean, like that's why I'm so passionate about financial advisors because like it's just so disgusting. And like you're saying, it's the same freaking thing with encouraging kids to take out massive loans, and they're literally enslaving themselves to debt for the rest of their life. Like you've literally destroyed their life by putting them in that much debt and not even learning a skill. I mean, at least if you have a skill, you can pay it back. But if you don't, you're done, son. Your life is over.
Okay, so this is what's going on with my niece right now. She goes to the University of West Virginia and she wanted to go for nursing, right? Girl works her dick off and she gets a 3.8 GPA. University of West Virginia tells her the grades aren't good enough. You can go into the dental hygienist program.
How is that not good?
$60,000 in debt, and you're telling her she can be a dental hygienist. How do you expect her to take that back? To pay that back. The only way this is getting paid back is if Uncle Jay NAUGY makes it big on YouTube and pays off his niece's college debt. Like, I don't understand how you can look at a person and promise them that.
Did you say a 2.8 or a 3.8?
3.8.
How is that not good enough? That's insanely good.
She's a really smart, dynamic girl. And then you have the problem of probably get backlash if this ever went big and my family saw it. But then you have the problem of the family encouraging it, and me, my mom, and my stepdad just sitting there shaking her head. And I'm like, as a finance guy, this concerns me. How do you expect this girl to pay this back? Even as a nurse, she's going to have a tough time paying $100,000 back. But it's not $100,000 because you're going to pay $200,000 back.
Yeah, it's like investing in the total stock market, but in reverse. You know, instead of gains, you're accumulating losses at that massive rate, that compounding rate.
Yes, and then the problem becomes, the way my brain works, what if you had invested that money?
Be a millionaire.
Yeah. She's lost $1 million of her earnings potential because of this stupid decision. And, you know, it just, this happens more often than not. How many people at USF how many kids I talked to, and they told me they were going to school for psychology. And I go, okay, so you're going to be a psychologist? They go, no, I'm just going to get my 4-year in psychology. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, somebody just took $100,000 from you and gave you something worthless in return.
Somebody took $1 million from you, really.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where we're at. That's why
I think I want to pay for my kids' college, but the way I'm going to do it, like I'm starting a 529 plan and I'm putting like $50 every freaking month. And I'll have enough to like pay for a really cheap community college. There's one here that charges like $100 a credit. So they go to community. Yeah, it's freaking cheap, dude. They go there, and if they suck at school, well, then you're done, son. But if they do good at community college, okay, maybe you can go to like a slightly more expensive state school, and I'll have enough to pay for that. But if you turn into a shithead or you want to do a stupid major, I'm not going to pay. But at least I'm not going to be in debt. I can just like withdraw the money.
No, I agree. It would depend on how my kid is, but a lot. If I had a son, I'd look at him and be like, "Do you want to understand what the smart play is? The smart play is to either join the military or learn yourself a trade. You learn a trade as a plumber, then you turn around and you go to community college and you take your basic accounting classes and economics and your business classes, and now you're self-employed." Plumber makes $120,000 a year or more. If a welder, all of these are in ample demand right now. It's a skill, and if my kid looked at me and he said, "I want to go to school for accounting," I'd look at him and be like, "Okay, that's a skill. I'm with it, man. That'll pay off in the end."
The main problem is people are just obsessed with status. It's all about status. Even if it enslaves them to debt. If they look good and people say good things about them, that's all they care about. They don't care.
Well, dude, you and I talked about this the last time we had a podcast, where it's like when somebody shows me their new vehicle, I just think you're a fuckhead. It's not a status symbol to me. I'm just like, you got $1 million in the bank? No? Okay, well, your $60,000 truck doesn't impress me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with me, like, I live in a 3-bedroom townhouse, and it doesn't matter what GS level I become. I could be a GS 15 one day. I'm not leaving my townhouse because then I have more money to spend. And people are going to be like, does he have money problems? Why is he not leaving his townhouse? And they just want to understand that it's because I'm a minimalist, frugal person, but some people are so status obsessed. They can't fathom that.
Well, dude, I had some people getting annoyed with me at work where they were telling me about the shit they own, and I'm like, I'm doing the mental math on that, and it doesn't seem like those are judicious ways to spend your money. And they couldn't understand why I wasn't impressed, and I told them, I own 4 pair of jeans.
I own like 2. I get it.
Dude, all right, let's be honest. I'll throw it out there. Between everything, I make $80,000 a year. I own 4 pairs of jeans. I have no plans to buy more jeans.
You make more. You make way more than the average family. Number one, so that's actually pretty good pay. And then number 2, you're spending way less. So you could be saving $50,000 a year. God, you can get rich so fast. $40,000 a year. Even.
I told you, my goal is 100% of my disability.
You should. I need to get mine up. I need more disability. Mine sucks.
You want a lawyer? You want a lawyer? We can talk offline. I got a lawyer.
Maybe. I'm not that injured. I am kind of jealous, though. I have 8%.
Dude, I'm to the point now where my psoas muscle is going because it's compensating for the 3 herniated discs in my back. That's why I had to switch to yoga. Thursday, because of the move, Thursday I went to work because I threw my back out. And I was like, I got to go to the emergency room, go in there, I get a note, come back. I'm like, guys, I got to go home. There was no pretending. It was, I couldn't be working. But no, I mean, like, I have a set goal to reach. Like I said, it's the mission. This year I'm going to spend more money than I want to, but that's because I bought a house. After that, the mission is mission frugality. I want to be the millionaire janitor story. The guy who was walking around with safety pins holding his coat together and he had $8 million. And I want to do that because I think it's funny. Like, that guy was driving an old Prius and he has how much money? Why didn't he buy this? I've always wanted that. That's the funny thing. I could have, but I didn't.
If you get famous, though, people are going to know. They're like, oh, he's trying to do that rags to that rich guy janitor story, but they're going to know. if you're like this hotshot YouTuber.
You know what though, dude? If I started making like if I was Andre Jeek and I made $1.5 million, I'd be like, I would have saved all that, but I would be like, I'm giving back to the fans. I'd give away 500,000 of it back to fans.
I would give it to like my earliest, most loyal subscribers. Like if you're just some craphead that joined when I had like 500,000 subscribers, well, no, you're not getting anything. But if you've been there for like 5 years, okay, maybe I'll throw you like $5,000 or something.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would do.
I'm too much of a cheap. I would be like, get that much.
That's why I like. What's that dude's name? I don't watch his videos, but Mr. Beast. He's giving a lot of money back to his fans, and you know, it ultimately becomes. Well, let's just say it. You know, you got that Graham Stephan guy. I don't think he gives bad advice. I don't think his videos are bad. But when you're talking to me about your frugality because you bought coffee, I'm looking at the expensive car in the background and things aren't making sense to me. Like, don't brag about your frugality of me buying, oh, you go to McDonald's and you get an iced coffee. You're an idiot. I just spent $600,000 on a sports car. I'm frugal. Look at me.
In my $1 million car, so I'm smarter.
Yeah, look at me frugaling over here. So it's like, dude, I have my things in life, and like I said, now that I got the board, the whiteboard coming, I'm going to do a fire video where I joke around about necessities in life. You got guns, booze, whatever else. These are necessities. Then you got wants. Everybody's wants are going to be different. And there's nothing wrong with saving up and buying something that isn't a judicious use of your money as long as you're saving the money.
I mean, in my opinion, if you've maxed out your 401k and your Roth, if you want to spend the rest on just complete nonsense, there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. You can blow it all. As long as you're maxing out those accounts, you're at least set up.
Yeah, it's like everybody's got their hobbies. So, I mean, there's the mix of frugality versus you have to live. And you do need some pleasure in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of blessed because, like, I don't like watching sports ball. I don't like cars. The only thing I like to do is go out to eat, and it's not to expensive restaurants. So I go out to eat every once in a while. And then I enjoy doing YouTube, which is free. Like that's and I read books from the library. That's the only things that make me happy. So I don't have these expensive things, but if I had more expensive tastes, I mean, maybe I would set some money aside for it.
Trust me, bro. A 67 Pontiac GTO highly appeals to me.
Guess what car I would buy?
A 69 Chevelle calls to my soul. When I look at that car, I'm like, this is just a thing of beauty. The Mach 1 Mustang that Steve McQueen was driving in Bullet gets my heart racing.
You know a car I would get if I was like super wealthy?
Hit me.
A Tesla. I would get one of those SUV Teslas.
Why? Because it's so ugly?
I think it's nice. It's like nice and sleek, and it's like it got a little big ass monitor on it. I think it's pretty cool.
I'm gonna say this about the Tesla truck. The Tesla truck has the appeal of a pug. It's so ugly, it's cute. Like that's my opinion of the Tesla truck. I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, dude, that thing's ugly, but it's a special kind of ugly. Like.
It's like so futuristic, you know. I feel like I'm in 3,200.
That's not me. I mean, like if you're gonna look at a truck, I'd rather have like a 1960s pickup truck than that thing, like decked out with like modern suspension and a modern engine. But that's more me. I just like the aesthetics of the older vehicles. There's very few things in life that are more beautiful than a 1969 Pontiac Judge. GTO Judge.
Yeah, I don't know anything about old cars, so I can't even imagine what that is.
I'll tell you a car you can imagine that greatly appeals to me. The Firebird that Burt Reynolds was driving in Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Like in early 80s, man. That's to me, I like older vehicles, man. I have a tendency to like the appeal and aesthetic of older things versus future things.
Yeah, I'm more of like a newer future kind of guy. Like I would like the Tesla SUV, and I don't like old houses with like old red brick. Like I like newer, glossier stuff. So if I was to buy a car, it'd probably be like a Tesla or some other EV from another company.
Hold on a second, man. I got to take a piss. My back teeth are floating.
I'm gonna get some water. I'm freaking dying.
All right. Boom, boom, boom.
We have a viewer. Somebody's watching us right now.
Really? Hello, dude. I'm really gonna try to start getting some of my friends in here that want to actually learn about investing, and I really want to talk my buddy Nate into making a smart decision on getting rid of his Tesla stock.
I want to talk about that boy, 100%.
He's posting some shit like, "Oh, the Tesla short sellers have been getting hammered," and I'm like,
short stock.
Yeah, well, it's what's the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent.
Yeah, you're paying pretty high interest rates, and like eventually, if you are done paying interest, you're gonna have to buy back that stock at an insanely higher price. Like it's actually an infinite loss potential if you're shorting stock, unless you have some kind of option in there.
Well, it was a glitch, but did you hear about the 19-year-old kid who borrowed a bunch of shit on margin and he killed himself?
Yeah, that's like one of the first articles I ever shared on my page. He just didn't understand what he was looking at, screwing around with options, and he freaking killed himself. You know, it's like, Jesus.
Well, that's why I tell people, if you don't understand it, don't do it. To bring it full circle,
it's like that should not be allowed for anybody because there's just so much loss potential, and these young guys don't know anything about freaking options. It's terrible. I mean, okay, buying a stock, whatever. The worst it goes is to zero. But if you go negative, that's freaking bad, especially for a younger person.
Do you know how glad I am that social media and also these investing apps did not exist when I was 18?
Oh, tell me, dude, the reason I am the way I am is because somebody gave me a book about long-term investing. That's how I learned. There was no apps. There was no freaking YouTube. I just learned by reading a book, and that I was able to like actually know how to invest before some app warped my brain, you know. But who knows what I'd be doing now if I was born 10 years later.
Well, here's the thing about Nate. When I was on his podcast, I explained to him about an IRA, and he goes, "What's an IRA?" And I go, "Nate, you got a lot to learn." He's setting one up, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not knowing, but It's the problem of you're buying stocks outside of your IRA. So the Tesla stock that you bought, you can't take profits without getting taxed on it now. And
I mean, how much profit?
He's 20, so he's young. Dude, if he's going to be an officer in the Air Force. So if he keeps going down this path, he's going to be wealthy. But I almost want him to lose out on Tesla so he learns a lesson young.
How much has he made so far?
I have no idea. We'd have to ask him.
He had like $100 in it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I would tell him, but he kept telling me he was re-entering the Tesla position when Tesla's overheated. He didn't buy Tesla 2 years ago or a year ago. He bought it in 2020. And it was the same thing when that guy earlier was talking about like NIO. I'm like, NIO is up like 1,200% this year.
And this comment is ridiculous. This 1,700. This is from earlier. But like, how did he know that that's the price target? Did he do a discounted cash flow model and, analyze the market? And
I don't want to shit. Yeah, I don't want to shit on the guy because he seemed like a nice guy who was asking questions. But it was like when he said $1,700, I was like, okay, so basically we're at the Kathy Wood $7,000 a share level, based on they sold a few cars. They own some other stuff. In none of their businesses is there a moat or a barrier to entry.
It's the tone of the articles, and it's all the buzz on like Reddit. And like every time you read a Tesla article, it's like, oh, they did this magic thing, and they're breaking into this new market, and it's going to go to infinity. So like it's just all this hype, and it's just building and building and building and building, and it's almost like exponential.
Yeah, well, it's Warren Buffett said no stock has an infinite value.
Except for Tesla.
Except for Tesla.
Excuse me.
But I mean, yeah, like I said, dude, you got $3,500. Let's just ask you. You got $3,500. You can only buy one of two stocks, buying Tesla or Amazon.
That's a tough choice. I don't know. I'd have to think on that.
And I'm going to say something controversial. I wouldn't even buy Amazon right now because I think it's overheated.
I don't think
you're going to get. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said I hate the Fangum right now. I don't want to buy him.
Well, when people talk about Netflix is still a good investment, I'm like, you understand that everybody is entering the streaming wars, right? In that Netflix has zero moat. Disney just announced 12 Star Wars shows. People are only going to have so many subscription services.
Yeah, I have like Hulu and Netflix now, and the only reason I do is because I'm a student, so I get super cheap prices. But yeah, I'm going to cut one of them as soon as I finish school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to. People have gotten their emotions involved in this stuff, and the one thing you don't want in investing is emotions.
I mean, that's your downfall. If you're so tied up in your stock's value and it crashes 30%, you're gonna crap your pants and you're gonna sell and you're gonna be screwed. It's like I literally don't give a crap what happens to my portfolio in the short term. If it crashed 60% tomorrow, I would be happy because then I could freaking max out my Roth at lower prices. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't be emotional at all. I'd actually be happy.
Yeah, so would I. Do you know how happy I was in March? Everybody else is freaking out. I was like, shit's cheap. There's money here. Take my money. I'm buying everything.
Dude, I was so pissed because I was sitting on a lot of cash. And I was moving. I was like about to buy my house. So I didn't want to spend anything because I didn't know how much it was really going to cost. And I missed that, that bottoming. And I only started really buying in around June, May or June. So I still got some pretty good gains, but I missed that crucial time period because I was waiting to buy a house.
Yeah, look, I did. It's not like super amount of money was going in there, but it was like my high dividend VYM. I was like, oh, you're at $60 from 94. Boom, 5 shares. Ah, Bank of New York Mellon, you're at 30. Buy shares. That's all I was doing was just hitting the button on buying shit. Like it. Look, my Vanguard Growth Fund, right? It's up 50% over the past year. I'm not even putting money into it. Don't even buy it right now. You're
Yeah.
up 50%. Why? You're 50% more expensive. Why would I buy you?
Yeah, I mean that's why. I mean, to me, you don't really always know what expensive is because bull markets can last super long. That's why it always goes back to just do the stupid simple portfolio, VT, VBR, whatever, and just buy it consistently. And if it gets too high, sell and put it into the other ones. That's all I freaking do.
Yeah, like there was somebody at work telling me about how this guy did this thing with this thrift savings program where he would take it and he would sell it and he would put it into the bond fund. And I go, and he was like, he had more money than, and I go, listen, man, that dude really didn't know what he was doing. You should just leave your money in there. And then when you see it dropping, double down on it. I'm like, just max it out, man. I'm like, you're playing games. You're working way harder to get these gains you're probably not going to get. And in fact, will be inferior than if you just left your money in there. And he's like, no, he was doing this up in Philadelphia. I go, okay. Right.
Oh,
I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue with you, man.
well, I have a friend from the Army. He actually told me about this thing he follows called TSP tips, where they kind of like give you like buy and sells and asset allocation advice. And I'm like, dude, why are you're basically like, you're not day trading, but you're like trying to time the market in your TSP. It's like, no. Why are you trusting this freaking app to tell you to put, 20% G fund right now and then tomorrow 30%? Like, why are you doing that? Pick your freaking allocation and stick to it. And that's all you got to do.
It's too much work for not enough payoff. You know what I mean? It's like you said. You're actively managing your fund. 95% of the time that doesn't work out, and it becomes the whole. Would you rather put in work to get honestly what'll be inferior results, or just fuck off and go to the beach? I'd rather just fuck off and go to the beach.
You'll do better by going to the beach because there could be a day.
Told you.
What's up?
I told you what I have my TSP in, right? It's
Weren't you like 50 for? Weren't you like mostly S and CI?
S and I, because a lot of my Vanguard portfolio before I started with the government is in Vanguard Total Stock Market. So I already have that.
I mean, basically, you want to look at all your accounts as one portfolio. So, like, basically, my Roth, I have the same allocation in my Roth as I do in my TSP, and the same one that I have. I actually have like a target retirement at Vanguard, and that has some bonds, but I can't help that. But that's basically all I have. Same allocation for each account.
Yeah, but like I said, I like to have a little. I like to be as diversified as possible.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fine. But like, let's say you had like a Roth and you had a TSP. Well, you can have 70% US, 30% international in each one because it's one big portfolio. If that makes sense.
No, it does, and I agree with you. And it is better to think of everything as just one portfolio. Yeah, I don't understand why these people want to put in work. It's like, I'll make you better than 95% of all golfers out there. And you don't have to do any work, or you can do work and probably not be better than 95% of all golfers.
I think people it's just human nature. They have to tinker and they just can't leave it alone. It's too hard to believe that the market can do its work for you and you have to do nothing. They can't fathom it. So they have to go in there and, oh, I'm gonna have 11% Tesla today, and then 9% tomorrow, and then 6.5% the day after. It's like, why? Because you're just pulling it out of your ass, basically. That's what you're doing.
Well, like we were talking about. Okay, so you said 95% of your money in index funds, right? If you put 95% of the money you're investing in index funds and then you gambled on lottery tickets afterwards, I don't have a problem with that. That's really like, I would look at that and be like, if you looked at me and you were like, well, dude, look, okay, so here's my investment money. 95% of it is in index funds. I enjoy lottery tickets. All right.
Yeah, I mean, as long you can do anything you want with that 5%, as long as you're not like leveraging or doing options. You could do it. You could do Bitcoin. You could do that company that guy talked about, SPAC or whatever. Whatever.
No, what that is a special acquisition company, and this is my bro science on it. It's basically a blank check company formed by larger companies so they can buy smaller companies.
So they're just acquiring companies to like merge into the bigger companies.
Yeah, I don't quote me that's 100%. I think the gist of it is right. That's why when he brought it up, I'm like, I don't really understand it, so I'm not buying it.
And I bet that guy's never heard of VT. But he's never heard of it.
I don't want to shit on him. I don't know what he knows and what he doesn't know, man. He seemed like a nice guy.
Shitting on him. I'm shitting on like the idea, like the majority of these people, all they see on is BS. You know?
Oh, I agree. Even, as much as I like Zeke's personality on Dream Green Show, I'm like, bro, what are you coming at me with? 25% of your portfolio or 10% of it is in is in realty income. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Single stock. That's not a REIT ETF. That's a stock.
Yeah, that's a REIT stock, and I'm like, come on, man.
I kept seeing that everywhere, and I thought it was like a REIT ETF. Well, I was like, okay, maybe that's not so bad. It's one freaking stock. Jesus Christ. Oh,
dude, I hope that the people at home are not taking these people too serious because they're going to lose a lot of money.
They are. That's the thing. Like, nobody talks about index investing. Nobody talks. When I try to find VT videos, there's like 2. Like, nobody talks about this stuff. They all talk about the hot shot options and all the Bitcoin, all the other BS. But like the big stuff that actually makes you money, nobody talks about it.
Well, it's like when people say to me, well, VT, the total world market, that can fail. And I'm like, yeah, then you're in the zombie apocalypse, and I hope you invested in lead because you got bigger problems than you lost.
It could fail.
Yes. It's just like, what if the entire stock market goes to zero? I go, then humanity's at its end, dude. It doesn't matter where you had your money.
Yeah, either the world's fallen to communism or we're all dead. Like, that's literally the only way that VT would go to zero.
Well, talk to Klaus Schwab in his Great Reset. That's what he wants. It's like, in the future, in 2030, you'll own nothing. And I want to look back at that dude and be like, I'll own guns. So I'll own my other shit too.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, that's literally communism. Like, nobody owns anything. Everything's communally owned. That is literally communism by definition.
But somebody owns it. If you're renting it, somebody owns it. Like, you'll eat less meat in the future. No, I won't, because I know how to hunt. I grew up hunting. You don't sell it to me at the store? We'll take away your guns. Then I'm dead.
Well, these people are too focused on Western countries, whereas there's all these people in like third world countries that are wanting to have better lives, and they're not going to listen to this BS. oh, you can't do this, you can't. They're going to do whatever they need to do to have a better lifestyle, which means probably more pollution in the future.
Well, dude, Africa alone is going to double the number of internal combustion engines over the next 20 or 30 years. Good luck walking up to a Nigerian with their superior genetics and telling him he's not going to improve his lifestyle. He's going to punch you in the face. That's how that works.
Well, dude, nobody's talking about it, but like if you look at the population projections for Africa, by the end of this century, there's going to be like 4 billion Africans. That's like, I think they're going to outnumber Asia. And you think all those people are going to want to be like, we're going to be green and we're not going to have meat. We're only going to have veggies. No, they're all going to want to burn freaking gas, to like get that better standard of living.
Well, all of this stuff, so President Xi is inserting into schools this patriotism into China. All of this bullshit, all of this Marxist ideology, this gender studies, these microaggressions, whatever else you want to add into it. This was all a concerted effort by the Chinese government and the Russian government, and they infiltrated our schools with these poisonous ideas of equality of outcome instead of equality of opportunity. And it's made us fundamentally weaker. I mean, like you said, you're going to go to these people living in Africa, and you're going to tell them, well, there's going to be a carbon tax because we don't think your standard of living should raise, and that you shouldn't be able to eat more meat. And they're going to look at you and be like, listen, motherfucker, we understood what it was like to starve. We're not doing this. I don't know.
People think they understand the globe, but they really don't. Like they don't. They think everything's kind of like how they're living. They don't understand that people are living so badly that they are going to do anything they need to do to improve their lifestyle. They're not going to stop because they're polluting a little bit. But I mean, in my opinion, you just let them complain and nothing will change because it's ridiculous, and just cut them out. That's what I do. I don't listen to them.
Well, it's as simple as this. The United States, you and I, in the military, did such a good job of insulating these people from suffering and having to actually face adversity that they became so soft that when you argue with them and you say, nobody should own an AR-15. You don't have a need for an AR-15. Like, okay, you do understand farmers in Texas are facing an infestation from feral hogs, right? And they are extremely dangerous, and you need a semi-automatic weapon to take them down.
Don't they like fly in helicopters and shoot them or something?
Dude, they're going to run everywhere, rampant across the United States. You can't stop them now. Yeah, but they do that.
California, kind of like build a fence.
Yeah, they'll find. Or the fact that in certain places, people have to deal with mountain lions. Like, you're disconnected from reality, man.
They always say it's an urban or rural. If you live in a big city, are you getting echo?
What?
Were you getting a feedback at all?
A little bit, yeah.
Anyway, so like if you live in a big city, okay, maybe you kind of think you don't really need an automatic weapon because it's so crowded. But if you live in a very rural area, it makes a lot less sense to have any kind of regulation on guns. You don't have anybody in your freaking backyard, and you have wild animals. Of course, you need a freaking gun. So a lot of it is just where you live.
You also have a large response time for 911 to get to you if bad people are at the door, and that can and does happen. And it's the hypocrisy of the whole thing is you have a person like Alyssa Milano. I own 2 guns. Hey, you probably own 2 semi-automatic handguns. Semi-automatic handguns are used in far more mass shootings than the AR-15 is because you want to be able to conceal your weapon. It's like these people don't understand what they're talking about. Again, it's like, oh, you're talking about introducing suppressors? They make guns perfectly silent. Yeah, but a criminal doesn't want to use them because it expands the length of the weapon, and what they want is concealability. But you're right. They can't think of a world in which you would need one until you drag them out to some farmer in Texas's house. And you say, "What do you think I should do about these hogs ruining my crops?"
Bow and arrow.
Yeah, right. Good luck with that. Good luck with just taking a 400-pound hog down with that. I have this joke. I haven't tested it out on stage yet. I don't think it's going to go over well, but it's me talking about being like right down the middle and saying, if I have to throw in with somebody, I'm throwing in with the conservatives because they have all the guns. And I'm like, here's a little secret that I have to let a lot of liberal people know that they don't really understand. Liberals need conservatives. Conservatives don't need liberals. That's just a fact.
Yes, you do. You need politicians.
Yeah, right. Like
you need California.
Yeah, right. It's like, what do you mean we don't need you? Okay, who do you think grows all your food? It's not liberals. It's conservatives in the middle of the country. Who do you think like most of your military members are? They're conservative. Who do you think most of your cops and firefighters are? They're conservative. We don't need more gender studies majors.
Well, if I owned college stock, I would maybe disagree, but since I'm dude, that would be the best stock that if you could buy like a college ETF like 30 years ago, God, you would make a fortune.
Dude, yeah. Can you imagine? Like, you talk about like back in like the early 70s or even, dude, where it really exploded is I remember going to this community college called Monroe Community College in Western New York. It's in Rochester. It was less than $1,000 a semester when I went there before I joined the military. When I went back to get my college legs back under me, it was like $3,000 a semester. And that's 12 years later.
Yeah, that definitely is a lot faster than inflation. And dude, it's all because they're building like these nice buildings. Like I was talking about earlier with that college I drove through. That's where all the freaking money's going, all these freaking amenities. It's so stupid. Like it's just a complete waste of the taxpayers' money to subsidize pretty buildings.
It's not even that. It's sold as a lifestyle. This is something I didn't get until I was older. You're 18, 19, 20 years old. You should be worried about your future. You should live on less, understand what it is to be poor so that you never want to go back to that and you work as hard as possible. Instead, it's sold to these kids as, hey, this is where you discover yourself. This is where you can freely finger bang because you're out of your mom's basement. This is where you go and you party with your frat buddies. No, that's not what it should be. You eat ramen noodles and you sleep on a shitty mattress.
I mean, that starts with the parents, man. I mean, there's really nothing you can't force people to do that. I wish that was the case, but.
No, I agree with you, but it is what it is. You call it what it is. You're robbing people's future.
Really, in my mind, as long as you learn, like if you're a parent and you teach your kids about this and you don't subsidize BS like that, they're going to eventually turn out much, much better. And in the long run, your kids will do better if you have them make the right decisions. Because like if you don't enslave yourself with debt and you learn how to invest in your 20s, you're going to be just fine. But if you do the opposite, you're going to be screwed your whole life.
Well, here's the thing. Not a religious man, but I understand there's certain wisdom in both texts, the Quran and Bible, and there's a reason why both of them warn you about debt. What is it in the Bible that says, he who takes on debt becomes a slave to the lender?
Yeah, but that's what built his whole freaking
Yeah.
philosophy off is the Bible.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I'm not a religious guy, but where I see wisdom, it is wisdom, and that's the thing. Like, I'm sure your kid, boy or girl, is going to grow up being financially boy. Yeah, it's going to be a savage.
No girls.
Too hard to raise girls. But I'm sure they're going to be financially savvy and not pursue the path of consumerism.
I mean, I hope that's the case. I mean, I'm going to do my best, and I'm not going to subsidize BS. But if I say, "Hey, I'm not paying for your college," and then they decide well, I'm going to get my own loan, and I'm going to study finger painting and pay $80,000 a year, Dad. If there's nothing I can do, I'll try, but you can't guarantee they're not going to do that.
Yeah, no, you're right. My brother's conservative, and he got overruled on my niece going down to West Virginia.
Overruled by who?
The wife.
I'm not gonna let that happen. Like I refuse to let a child go into debt.
I get it.
I don't care. It's not gonna happen.
I get it. The funniest thing is that I'll say shit, and I love my brother's wife, Corey. She's an amazing woman. She's awesome. But I'll say shit.
Probably.
Yeah. I'll say shit, and she'll look at me, and she'll be like, "You sound like your brother." And I'm like, "Yeah, because my brother has brain. It just makes sense. He's telling you the truth." And I'm saying these. And my brother has said to me, when his kids have said some nonsense to me, and I've just chimed in and gone, "Yeah, I'm the cool uncle, and what's coming out of your mouth is a bunch of bullshit." And my brother will go, "Who's that sound like?"
How many kids do they have?
3.
And what the oldest one is the one that's in college or has the nursing thing?
One stepson, he works. He's got a job. 2 biological daughters. So, the oldest daughter is the one that wanted to go for nursing. And my thing is okay, you went to University of West Virginia, you made that choice, but these guys reneged on their obligation to you. They had 40 slots and they offered it to 300 people. Why are you want to be a nurse? Why are you settling for anything other than what you want to be? You're letting somebody else dictate what your future is.
Go to a different school. I'm sure some school will take her.
Oh, the girl's brilliant.
Yeah, but we don't live in like a communist country. Like there's different businesses, and
yeah,
you go somewhere else, they might actually take you. So I wouldn't just say, "Oh, I'm screwed." I would try to go to a different school, see if they accept her there.
She's in love with the lifestyle of West Virginia and University of West Virginia, and I can't. Yeah, I can't say that I would have been any smarter at her age, but it's just. This is the thing, man. You get older. Like, I don't understand why people don't listen to the wisdom of the elders. You get older, you get more clever, man. You've seen stuff. Tricks have been pulled on you. They don't work anymore. It's like when I'm at work, I'm always talking to the old guys, trying to absorb what they're saying to me.
Yeah, but the sad thing is, even a lot of older people, they're the ones that are like letting their kids go to college and doing BS majors and going into massive debt. So, I mean, of course, there's some wise old people, but there's also a lot of idiots, too. I mean, like, in my opinion, I'm 31. I think I'm as smart as anybody that's 50, 60, 70, 80, or 90. I mean, I'm an adult,
Yeah, no, you're definitely intelligent. Dude, I don't know that you're going to go one-on-one with Thomas Sowell.
Oh, no, he's a jump. I'm talking about the average, like.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's like, if he said something and somebody asked my opinion, I'd be like, I'm a moron. Why are you asking me anything? This dude's so much smarter than me. I might as well be a chimp over here playing with a rock.
I mean, I read 2 of his books. They were great. I mean, like he knows a lot of stuff. So.
Well, he's the dude that the more I listen to him, the more libertarian I become.
You need to read Milton Freeman next. I'm about to start reading some of his books, like Free to Choose. Like I think he taught Thomas Sowell. I think he was like the head guy of the Chicago school.
Doug Stanhope has one of the most brilliant takes on Milton Freeman. It's one of the greatest bits of all time. He talks about a hooker selling her ass on the street, and he starts talking about what a charade fiat currency is. And he's like, dig up that dead Jew Milton Freeman. He's a Nobel Peace Prize winning motherfucker. Ugh.
Yeah. We'll see how he writes. I mean, I've read Thomas Sowell, and he was pretty good, but I don't know if Milty is going to be interesting or not. But he seems pretty cool. We'll see.
But, we'll probably call it in a minute because I'm getting drunk. But, to bring it full circle, it comes back to the ignorance of the average person, where the guy asked me in the sauna today, why can't we just print money?
Look, just buy gold, bro. Just buy gold and Tesla. You'll be fine.
Yeah. But no, it's the average person doesn't understand that. They don't understand. Like, I've been on arguments on Facebook about why you can't print money like we're doing, and I just stopped arguing with people. They're like, the way I understand it, most of the money is owed to us. Okay. That may be correct, and it is correct. But you cannot have an increasing amount of money chasing the same goods and expect it not to bankrupt you.
Yeah, I mean, at least inflation. And then if you have inflation, then bond yields go up, and that increases how much interest the government's paying. And the more interest the government pays, the less of your social programs you get to have. Like there's just so much there. And then if the government borrows more and more money, well, that's money that's being taken out of the private sector. It's just like this compounding effect of crap.
And it gets into the whole thing. Why do you want to give the government more money? At this point, we've proven that politicians are generally financially irresponsible. Like, how much time out of the day do you expect me to work so that you can afford a missile to fire at a guy who makes 80 cents a day?
Yeah, there's not much you can do, to be honest. You can try to nothing. But a lot of people, they want instant gratification. I want this policy because it makes me feel good, and I don't care what happens in the long run.
And the worst part about that is you have a lot of intelligent people that feel that way.
Well, they're intelligent when it comes to certain subjects, but they're not intelligent on finance or economics or accounting.
They're intelligent, they're just not knowledgeable. And the problem with intelligent people is they can convince idiots that they're wrong.
Oh, it takes a lot to learn this stuff, like interest rates and economics and all. It's not an easy thing, and most people aren't going to take all the time to learn all that stuff.
Yeah, you kind of have to be into it. It's one of those things that you have to be into.
Yeah, it took me a while for things to start clicking, but eventually it did. I think being an accountant really helped.
Yeah, who wants to sit around looking at price to book ratios and understanding what that is?
That's boring, bro. Just buy Tesla.
All right, brother. I probably have to
get tired.
I'm fucking turning into a complete idiot now. I'm like 7 beers in.
Hey, we got some viewers today, though, so better than before.
Yeah, dude. Look, this is what I just think it is on the whole YouTube, is to show up and be reliable.
I think because I threw Tesla into the title, I think that helps as well.
No, it definitely does. But I think once you get an audience, and I think really what it is selling your personality to people.
Yeah, it's just getting out in front. It takes a while for people to actually know you're there. You could be the greatest guy in the world, but if you're buried 20,000 videos down, nobody's going to watch you.
Look, it comes down to this. Ryan Scribner's a charisma void, and he's got thousands of subscribers.
He sucks, dude. Oh.
Dude, doesn't he? Don't you just look at that? Dude, this is all right. So this is what I think of this dude. He's the guy that shows up at your. He was a nerd in high school, and he shows up at your high school reunion, bragging about everything, and nobody gives a fuck, and they're kind of just looking at him like, dude, listen, you're not cool. You had bitch tits throughout all of high school. Nobody respects you here. And you're like, dude, I became a YouTuber and I sold people a bunch of bullshit with my course. And another dude's like, yeah, join the army, man. I served 3 tours in Iraq. Cool.
Dude, the last thing I'll say before we go, we should, the next live stream, we should talk about him. Like, I'll do more research on him. You've read his course. I think we can do a lot of talking about Ryan Scribner next time.
I'm down, dude. I'm down. And like I said, I'm going to try and get more buddies on that just want to learn. Yeah, like I had a buddy who I talked about this before. He bought a gold mine. He's got a TBI. He was in an explosion in Iraq. And he's been taken people have taken financial advantage of him. And I was like, dude, I'm your new money guy. You call me. Anybody wants money for anything, you call me, and then you hand the phone over to the person so I can tell them to fuck off.
No, he should call a financial advisor.
I can't let another military member be fucked over. It doesn't matter what branch you were, even if you're a coastie and you half served.
Tell him to call Edward Jones. He'll be fine.
Dude, I got phone calls. I was like struggling like what I was going to do with my YouTube channel. So it's like I'll make these different accounts and show things how they work out. So I had a Charles Schwab account, and these financial advisors just kept calling me, and I'd like be on the phone with them, and I'm like, I don't need your advice.
I'm actually we have an Edward Jones in my little town, and I'm actually going to go into the office to an Edward Jones person in my town and kind of like just see what they do. So I can actually report back on that.
Dude, you need to do it and wear like a pinhole camera. So when you start,
I have a recorder on my phone. I can just record crap.
Yeah, well, it was like, dude, I didn't do the recording properly, but the hammer I dropped on one of Jeremy Lefebvre's counselors when he called me, this dude had nothing. It was like I just tore right through him. I let him sell me all the way up until, and if you pay $15,000, Jeremy will take a look at his portfolio or take a look at your portfolio. And he goes, so why wouldn't you do this? I go, all right. So,
okay.
yeah. And I went into him and he's like, yeah, sir, you seem like a little bit more advanced of an investor. I'm like, I'm not even that advanced.
Yeah, you should have. You could probably call again and like try to confront another guy about it.
Yeah, dude. No, we should do that. We should fucking talk about how these guys are selling you shit. We'll do an entire Scribner episode. Like, I'll bring up his teachable thing where I'm like reading like how lazily put together it is, how little respect he has for people.
Just dump on it. Like we can do a screen share and then we can just like dump on it while you go through it.
I'm down, dude. I'm down. Because it's literally so lazily put together. He has companies as in possession mixed up with companies as in plural. And I'm like, you couldn't even, like, you took $300 from somebody that worked hard for that. A dude makes $30 an hour. He worked for 10 hours to afford that. You couldn't take the extra 4 seconds to make sure that this was corrected. That's how little he thinks of his fans.
He's probably right too.
Yeah. Well, we should do it, and we should talk. There's a video he does where he talks about how for years he lived below his means. We should show the video of him in like 2017, like a year after he started his YouTube channel. He's talking about being thrifty, driving that Nissan GTR.
Oh, we'll definitely do it, man. But I'm gonna sign off, man. I'm freaking
tired. Yeah, brother. We'll talk off air.
Oh, and for our viewer that's watching us right now, subscribe to our freaking channels, please, because I need money.
I need people.
I need money. All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, brother. I'll see you
later.